Thank you for taking the time to speak, Steve. As we'll, really appreciated. We'd love to start by hearing more about your last corporate role. Where have you come from?
Yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to be in the meeting and discuss this. I was at Kinetico UK. Kinetico is a multinational company in water treatment, and I was the managing director for the UK company, which effectively was an SME. Turnover of about 13 million when I left the business, but that had increased quite significantly in the 4 years that I'd been there, both organically and through the acquisition of a company who supplied Premier Inn and Starbucks with water filtration services. So that acquisition enhanced significantly. It was a 4 times multiplier on the commercial business that Kinetico had, and fully in line with the strategy to expand in that part of the business.
Wow. And then prior to that, you was working for much larger multinational corporates.
Yeah, so the first 26 years of my career was all with Johnson Diversey and the various iterations, which again included significant acquisitions. So I really started working in a 30 million pound UK business for SC Johnson, the B2B part of SC Johnson, supplying hospitals, nursing homes, anywhere away from home. And by the time I'd left after the 26 years through the acquisition, which I was part of the team who did the acquisition of a business from Unilever, we were $3 billion at that stage and 13,000 employees. So it was quite a journey that we had with them.
Wow, I bet I was. I bet it was amazing. So when you was at Kinetico, your last corporate role, what challenges or frustrations were you facing before, when sort of leaving that role and sort of deciding what your next steps would be?
Yeah, so I think when I left that role, and there was a as with many corporate entities, the reason I left my role was due to a kind of corporate restructure at European level, and that basically made redundant the UK managing director role and some of the other country management roles in favour of a more European structure, which would have meant me relocating. So I stepped out of that business and started running my own business in May of 24. And I'd been running my business for about 8 months and wanted a portfolio career. I'd had 3 sort of advisory and interim roles, 2 of which had concluded after 8 months when I started to talk with you about the SME Non-Exec program. I've had almost no traction in searching for NED roles. So I had an aspiration to try and get something in the NED world, just to run alongside my one remaining interim exec role that I was playing with a US-based company.
Wow. And so what prompted you to look for support at that stage?
If I'm really honest, I wasn't looking proactively, but your approach and the communication material gave me the awareness that SME Non-Exec could potentially offer a more systematic approach, particularly to searching for NED roles.
Yeah.
So that was really the motivation to look more closely at attending that and really joining the program.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It makes sense. Did you have any?
Congratulations for your approach. It was very professional and got me really thinking.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, thanks, Steve. A lot of it is always with timing, isn't it? With these things, it's just the right place at the right time and the right,
very much was. But I've subsequently learned that wasn't by chance. So congratulations on that.
I mean, it's been a pleasure since we've been working together. It really has. And obviously it's a bit easier. I've been on the other side of that your decision to work together, to do more work
Yeah.
together, did you have any like doubts or like hesitations or
Yeah, I
preconceptions even
think
before?
as ever, the usual doubts. Have I chosen the right partner to help me before you kind of get to know each other? Then that's inevitably a um, a, a, a doubt or a question mark. Um, but I think what really helped me was um, the approach, very much a non-salesy approach, which I've
Mm.
subsequently learned is really part of the process that you then bring to all of us. Um, and I think really especially the professionalism of the marketing materials jumped out at me. And most particularly the SME Non-Exec playbook I thought was and is really professional and
Right.
just um, gives, I think, gives anybody who reads that the confidence, should give anybody who reads that the confidence to, um, to get into the more detailed content that you get into with the programs, because it's at a very high level. It really gives a differentiated approach, I think,
Right.
to the process.
Brilliant, brilliant. And thank you, like, thank you for sharing that. And like, did you look at any other companies or alternatives
Yeah,
to what,
yeah.
like, to what
I
we
think
did?
anybody who's ever searched for NED roles has probably been in touch with New Role.
Right.
Um, so I registered with them and another database company, as I would describe them, Dynamic Boards, um, and then the other consideration that I had at the time, I'd been a very happy member of Vistage for a number
Mm.
of years whilst I was in my previous corporate role. I'd been in a group there and found that very stimulating and a lot of great learning from that. So I considered enrolling myself on the Vistage chair program to do the training and obviously then recruit companies in my area and have a territory in the northwest here. Um, so those were the steps that I'd taken. I kind of quickly realized that the databases that I'd chosen, and maybe I could have chosen different ones, but they didn't really cover my target companies. They were
Right.
more public sector oriented, and that I was really feeling that I had more to offer in the private sector to companies more similar to the three companies I'd run since I finished my
Mm.
my corporate, my career with Johnson Diversey. I'd run then obviously three SME companies. So I was really looking more for that. And the other aspect was that they didn't give any real support on the process, which was my key interest. And I think the key gap, and even looking back, that was definitely the key gap that I had, was just not having a structure to follow.
Yeah.
And those databases, at least to the level that I subscribed in them, didn't give me that sort of guidance and direction.
Yeah.
Then Vistage, I looked at, as I say, but really decided that once I'd gone through the training program, the next step would have been to try and recruit a number of individuals and companies from for my group, as it were. And I felt that once I'd done that, I'd probably be more into a full-time role rather than
Right.
my sweet spot, which I decided would be about 2 to 3 days a week of work.
Mm.
So, so hence I kind of came back and sort of enrolled on the accelerator program.
Yeah, brilliant. And well, I mean, like talking about that, what has like how have you found the experience of the accelerating and working together, like the pace, structure, and like the sort of the overall level of support?
Yeah, I, I have to say the entire experience has just been outstanding, with a very intelligent process backed up by significant support from you, Adrian, and also fostering a team experience that has far surpassed my experience, or my expectations, I beg your pardon. So that, yeah, the team experience really surpassing my expectations.
When you say team experience, like, can you expand on that? Is that like the
Yeah, so it
community
started
within?
with the original training program, which was physical, in a physical environment, and we built the start of our cohort that way. But then, as time has moved through, I've been part of the weekly catch-up calls, which have both imparted more knowledge about the process and more insights into the process, but probably just as importantly, have really led me um, to gain significant inspiration from seeing others in my cohort start to make progress. Um, and then I could start to measure my own results along the way as well. So it all led me to be a more confident person in the process of trying to attract and develop my positioning and my approach for NED roles.
Yeah,
So um, yeah, that was really a little bit of a surprise, if I'm honest with you, that was so powerful for me, and I think that plays out even today. It's kind of both positive peer group pressure, and as somebody who's been in sales and marketing all my career, I know all the value of peer group pressure. But I'd say it's the positive aspects of it. Well, that's a positive aspect. It kind of keeps you motivated in one way, but a lot of it is the inspiration of seeing
yeah,
the other members of the cohort and their success. So that's really been striking for me, in
yeah.
terms of that experience. So
And just to
yeah,
comment on that as well, Steve, no, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think there is a really warm, welcoming, positive, like inspiring sort of like pressure there, but no one at any point is saying you need to do this or you haven't done that. There's none of that. You like I think people are just as inspired by other people's wins as well as when other people openly share, yeah, I'm struggling with this bit or
yeah,
struggling with that, and
yeah.
maybe put some words to things you may be feeling or thinking, but haven't, like haven't realized or want to express for whatever reason. It seems to be my observation of it is that it seems to be very well rounded and just helping people to move through those inevitable peaks and troughs of
Yeah,
the
and
journey.
we all know, even in corporate life, when you've been between jobs, there's the motivation aspect of managing the peaks and troughs in your motivation is a really key element
Mm.
of succeeding, because we all know that job opportunities are like London buses. They come in a batch and then you get nothing for several weeks. And that's the peaks and troughs there, right there. And I guess, we all experience that as we're trying to look for a portfolio career as well. And we're looking to
Mm.
build our portfolio. So, even like yesterday, one of the guys was just, I could detect was needing a little bit of a boost, and he absolutely got it from the rest of the group and from you.
Yeah,
So it's I would really emphasize that although I mentioned peer group pressure, it's a really supportive environment, both from
yeah.
you individually and from the rest of the group.
Yeah, yeah, that's just it. And I know you were referring to, and yeah, you could see he seemed like he left that 1 hour call in a very different place than when
Yes,
he entered it, which was the whole point
absolutely.
of this. And it's not just
Absolutely.
about like the wins. It's that as much as a win to me personally as someone who's just secured a like a paid appointment, for
Yes.
example, is
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you for sharing that. So um I mean, as part of this group, part of the like the overall cohort, how has it helped you to face some of the challenges you were finding, on this journey to securing an appointment and just
Yeah.
working, outside of the corporate environment and working by and for yourself, like to a large
Yeah.
extent.
Um, well, I probably was relatively slow to adopt the process and really get into the process because the one role that I had left from my, that I brought into the process, as it were, was starting to grow in size. Um, so it's really only when that came to a conclusion recently, like 2 weeks ago, that I really did full justice, I think, to the approach that we've been planning for. Obviously, I'd got all the foundations in place and was planning to to get into it when my other role was less busy, and now I've really got a lot of time to get into that now, and really exciting news that just a week after starting to post on LinkedIn and starting to do outreach, I landed my first offer of an NED role just yesterday. Um, Now, whilst I'm not expecting the next one to come along quite so quickly, it has given me the confidence that the process really works. And this is reinforced, as I said earlier, by the success of my fellow cohort members. So, in terms of the professional uh, opportunity of really trying, my key focus was get the first NED role because I think the first is probably the toughest to get.
Yeah.
Uh, so if you getting over that line and being able to build a case study around that will be really powerful for me. But then in addition, posting on LinkedIn, I feel even in the short period of time that I've been doing that, it's really strengthened my network connections again. I'm having quite a few discussions with people I haven't had discussions with for quite some time. And whilst only some of those might end up in opportunities, it really has strengthened my confidence and self-esteem to have somebody recognize me on LinkedIn and then have a discussion and really catch up. And that's been a great part of the process for me. Um, then uh, the other impact, really one of my objectives was to have a portfolio career as a bridge into retirement. My stage and age, that was relevant for me, and to give me some financial benefits along the way, but even more so to maintain intellectual stimulation.
So you was working in interim, you was working in interim type role, and
Yeah,
that had looks as like it was going to be more require more involvement for
yeah,
you. But then
yeah.
at the last sort of minute, everything changed there for you. Was
Yeah, yeah. Openly, the CEO who had lined me up for more work um, left the company, and that resulted in a change of direction from that company, which meant that the opportunity really wasn't what I was looking for going forward.
Mm,
So we parted amicably as well, and that really meant that I was far more open to really pursue the process pretty much full time in
yeah,
order to land a replacement. And it's just great that within a week um, of actually really pressing the buttons on a post on LinkedIn and starting outreach, that one of my network pointed to an opportunity in a new business that he's in, and that was confirmed yesterday as my first NED appointment. So obviously, absolutely delighted with that, both the financial impacts, but also the opportunity to build a case study of my experience as an NED.
Yeah.
It's effectively helping a US-based company enter the UK in the right way, manage all the governance and fiduciary responsibilities, but also there's a clear opportunity for me to act as the growth partner for that business going forward. So, it's really absolutely aligned with what I was looking for, and obviously I'm delighted that the process worked so quickly. I wouldn't expect it to work as quickly on other occasions, so I've got my expectations managed in that respect, but it really confirmed, alongside the experience of my fellow cohort members, that the process really does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what a remarkable, it was like a remarkable journey for you, really, because it was what, 1 week we was having the conversation, you sort of sharing just what happened. A week later, there was, commercials coming onto the table and secured. And so, like, professionally, in terms of the outcome, like having a week downtime between, that and then getting your first paid non-exec appointment, which is just wonderful. I can imagine personally as well, like, because that's quite, I felt the emotional, like, roller coaster as we
Yeah.
were like talking about it, like,
Yeah.
oh no, and then like yes. And so I would imagine that that has also had a positive impact as well, like, and being surrounded by
Totally.
peers who very clearly all had your back and were rooting for you, as I was and continue to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, the team element of being able to post or just inform the WhatsApp group of that, and the warmth of the responses coming back just really kind of reinforced my point about the importance of that team element. But one of the key objectives that I had, thinking about a portfolio career, was to maintain intellectual stimulation, as I probably reduced my working time a little bit in anticipation of full retirement. And that's really been achieved, not only by getting hold of roles, and that will obviously provide the intellectual stimulation, but just the process itself, I found intelligent and intellectually stimulating. So I've really enjoyed learning about that, and even simple elements like the use of artificial intelligence in the overall process. I really underused that in my corporate life, and but you've proven to us that bringing new approaches in this as can really accelerate your productivity and your ability to drive to the goals that you've got now. So that's been, it's all kind of contributed to me keeping sharp, I believe, as part of this process.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and it's such a good point to share that, because there is, this is not a knowledge dump. This has never been, it's never been designed to be a knowledge dump. But will you learn new things? Absolutely. Will we take different approaches? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there that level of, right, a very warm and endearing, gentle nudge of pushing you out of your comfort zone? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so lovely to hear you, to hear that's been your experience, really. Yeah. So how has this influenced your next steps and your thinking about what the future looks like for you?
As I said earlier, I took my time to get into the full process because of other things that were going on professionally and my time availability. But now I have got into it, I'm really confident it'll result in further roles. And from my perspective, 2 to 3 roles would be the sweet spot for me, depending on the time each one takes. And so I'm really confident now. I've got the first one that I should just keep plugging away, and that will result in hitting the portfolio I'm really looking for. And yeah, that's really mission accomplished from my perspective once I get to that point. Clearly, I've learned the hard way not to put all eggs in one basket. So I am really keen to get the one or two other roles to complement that. But as I say, really confident that those will come along.
Yeah, as am I, because also as well, Steve, with regards to where you are on the journey, we barely scratched the surface.
Yeah,
Literally, like we picking it back up. Got the first one in the last week.
yeah,
But yeah, we've barely scratched it. So there's still a lot more to get into. So getting those two to three,
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah. Because the primary focus, really the almost exclusive focus for me so far has been just part of my existing network. So clearly, outreach to new contacts is another key part of the process that I haven't even started on yet. So
yeah.
I recognise there's a long runway to really then look to achieve what I'm looking for.
Yeah, the brilliant. And then just a very very briefly on that. How have you found that reconnecting with some like former colleagues and former people within your network so far? How
Yeah,
have you found that?
it's been really good to as I say, some of them you sense could lead to a role, and obviously always got that in mind. Others, it's really just about embedding myself back into that network, and I think that could be a longer term benefit of just obviously more support from that network and more eyes and ears for any opportunities that come up later. So I think by creating those links, I do believe that's an investment in future interest.
Mm.
And so whilst I'm careful about the amount of time I have on just networking, where it's possible that there is no specific opportunity at the end of it. I believe that that's worthwhile. I've felt it's been worthwhile in terms of just learning what they're doing, learning from their experiences, and that's opened up some new ideas and fresh ideas for me as to business opportunities that we could take advantage of.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And it's a balance between like nurturing and then progressing like opportunities that are
Yeah,
they're more ready to be progressed just as you have. So
yeah, yeah,
that's brilliant.
yeah.
Um, so my final two questions, Steve. Would you recommend SME non-exec to other executives or senior leaders who are considering making a similar move to what you have?
Yeah, I've had not a single regret, and I can't recommend it highly enough.
Thank-
It's just been totally outstanding, and I know that's the feeling of the other people who I've got to know on the cohort as well. So anybody thinking about trying to get into a non-exec role couldn't be in a better place.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's great. It's great to hear that. And what advice would you give to anyone who is thinking about this? Like,
I think it's probably not surprising based on how much I've valued the team element of the program. So I know that there are different levels of program, and only some of them include that ongoing contact with a cohort. Um, I it will pay for itself time and time again, in my opinion, both personally in your development and motivation, and professionally and financially in the roles that you'll get and the revenue that you'll earn if you go for one of the programs that involves ongoing contact with you and ongoing contact with the rest of your cohort.
yeah, that's the group program essentially, the one group program,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
accelerator,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
just
yeah,
it's just all access. We're in this together. We're on this journey together. people come from different backgrounds, different stages of the journey, but
Yeah,
fundamentally we're on this
yeah.
together.
It's obviously a higher investment to go for one of those programs, but it's from my perspective, as I say, it will just pay for itself time and again as you get into it, and if you take it seriously, because you will get roles that way,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and therefore, within a month or two of really getting your first role, you'll have paid that off easily.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Steve. It's been a real pleasure to hear, and well, it's been a real pleasure to hear everything you shared. Thank you for that. But
Yeah,
it's been even more of a pleasure to have been working together over the last, well,
yeah, it
probably come
has.
up
Yeah,
to been
yeah,
quite a while now, and yeah, seeing your journey and supporting and being with you through it, it really has, and I can't wait to see how the current appointment that you've just secured, that's got, because you mentioned like potentials to evolve into like a growth partner, more fractional type opportunity if you want that. I can't wait to see that evolve. And equally, I can't wait to see what the next opportunities are and the type of businesses you're working with as well. It's just
yeah,
brilliant
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So much to offer. So
Exciting
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. But thank you so much
No
and
worries. No
have a
worries.
great day.